Welcome back to the 21-Day Challenge. You've probably heard by now the statistics that we have over 50,000 thoughts a day. I certainly know that on many days, I certainly feel there may be more than that many, that sometimes it feels like my mind is just overflowing with thoughts. And the reason that that's a problem is because most of these thoughts are quite uncomfortable. Most of these thoughts are just judgments about either ourselves or other people or situations out there. We think that about 90% of those 50,000 thoughts run negative. There are so many painful thoughts that most people feel like they aren't in charge of their minds. Just like when there's a big storm, we feel that all we can do is damage control. When the thought storms come up, we often feel very disempowered. It often feels like our negativity takes on a life of its own. Despite the fact that most of us just want clarity and peace of mind, most of us don't have it nearly as much as we would like. So we resign ourselves and we think, well, that's just the way it is, and life is hard. That's why we have so many negative thoughts. But then sometimes we notice that the mind might stop for a little bit. When we're in flow states, the mind doesn't seem to interfere. When we're in flow, we just go about doing life, whatever that is in that moment, without a lot of the annoying commentary in the background that seems intent only on criticizing everything it can. When I speak with surgeons or orchestra directors or other highly skilled professionals, and they talk about what it's like to perform their trade, they often say that sometimes things just go quiet. And it's like they're using another brain altogether. Religious people might say something it's like God is flowing through me. But those who don't use the religious terminology describe a very similar phenomenon. It's an experience of transcendence. And the biggest and most salient feature of that state is a quieting of the commentary. It's like when they become so absorbed in what they're doing that the commentating, storytelling mind just shuts up for a little bit. Ordinary people describe this in everyday life. It may be that when you're out having lunch with a dear friend, and all of a sudden you notice you're totally engrossed in your conversation. You're not rehearsing what you're going to say. You're not rehashing what she said before. Or maybe it's when you're taking care of a baby and time seems to stand still. Or it could be when you're on a hike and you reach a beautiful vista. And for some of us, it might simply be when you're totally engrossed into calculating how many taxes you owe on a spreadsheet. These beautiful flow states are clues to the fact that not only do we not need 5,000 thoughts a day, but in fact that most of these thoughts get in our way. I certainly don't want my surgeon overthinking every cut he makes or criticizing himself internally as he's taking out my gallbladder. We don't want the orchestra conductor to be so absorbed in his inner monologue that he can't be fully present to the exquisite thing that is a room full of professional musicians making magical music. Surely thoughts are needed, of course they are, but when we get to know ourselves better, we start to see that not all thoughts are created equally. Thoughts are either generated through the survival network or through the truth self or thriving networks of the brain. Where do you want your thoughts to come from? When we practice meditation, we practice our capacity to be more selective of what kind of thoughts we want. We become better at letting go of the commentating, storytelling, criticizing, survival thoughts so that we can stay open to the beautiful thoughts that allow us to be our highest selves. So let's start. Starting with some long exhales can help settle our minds a little bit. bringing a nice deep breath in through the nose, and then making your exhale as long as it will possibly go. Breathing out through pursed lips and stretching that exhale as long as it will go. And then simply taking another deep breath in through the nose and exhaling through those pursed lips. One more on your own. And then returning to normal breathing. Meditation is really about becoming expert noticers. So I invite you now just to simply pay attention to the feeling of breathing. What does it feel like high in your nostrils to breathe in? Just bringing attention to that part of the breathing. Breathing in again. And simply bringing your full attention into the sensations of breathing, as if you were a scientist, noticing all of the qualities of the experience of breathing. And now noticing how the chest collapses around the out-breath. So noticing the in-breath in the nostrils and the out-breath as your chest collapses. Again, this is just about being able to pay attention to breathing. Now your mind is going to want to wander. It might wander into what you're going to be doing later on in the day. It might start to wonder why you're practicing this right now. It might have all kinds of thoughts. And for now, the instruction is to let go of those thoughts by returning your attention into the experience of breathing. Just noticing the breathing in the nostrils and in the chest. And now we'll bring our attention into the space of our feet. Again, as if we were scientists, noticing the sensations of the feet. Are they hot? Are they cold? Are they symmetric? What do your feet feel like right now? And then bringing attention into the space of your knees. Noticing if there's clothing rubbing against your skin. And then noticing inside the joint of your knees, can you pick up any sensations there? Are the sensations symmetric? Is there any pain in your knees? Trying to find the sensation in our knees is a little bit more difficult when our knees aren't actually being used. What does the inside of the knee feel like? And then bringing the spotlight of attention into the interface of your body with the chair or your body with the floor. Where are those pressure points where the body is meeting the chair or the floor? Our only goal is to notice what's going on, to pay attention to what we want to pay attention to. Bringing attention up now into the space of the chest. See if you can pick up that heart beating. Noticing this amazing structure that beats all on its own, 24/7. keeping us alive without any micromanagement on our part. And then also noticing the lungs which work beautifully in concert with the heart, delivering fresh oxygenated blood wherever we need it. Noticing this tremendous intelligence that lives within us. Is it possible that there are other places in our lives that we can rely on this tremendous intelligence without feeling like we have to overthink everything we do? And so now let's move our attention up again, this time to the space behind the eyes and between the ears. This is the space where our thoughts like to show up. And so sometimes this space feels very peaceful and very big and very spacious. And sometimes, if you're a human, this space feels very crowded, full of thoughts and emotions that don't seem to want to settle. And that's okay. That's where most humans live much of the time. And so starting to develop the capacity just to notice these things, just to notice the thinking that's going on, just to notice the emotions that are rising. And in this space, we again pick up the breath, noticing what it feels like on the inhale in the nostrils, and noticing on the out-breath how the chest collapses. And we'll sit in silence together for another little while. And so as we wrap up this meditation, I invite you to notice something that you're grateful for. Maybe somebody who's helped you with something today, or an opportunity that's presented itself to you. And just notice where in your body you sense that sense of gratitude. Just focus on that. Make that the object of your meditation. Breathing in as if you could amplify and magnify gratitude. And remembering that we can't control all the distractions and the disruptions that are going to happen to us during our day. And we clearly can't control our thoughts or emotions. But we can start to have some agency on how we respond to all of the distractions and disruptions, even how we respond to our own thinking. And this is where our freedom lies. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.